Yeah, the other thing that struck me was that what you are really employing is the power of story. And
yeah.
so, because you sprinkle the whole book with beautiful connecting emotional stories, and I was wondering, is that the title of your next book, The Power of Story?
No, it's a great idea, but, there's been research conducted that shows, you can tell somebody a group of events, or you can just tell them a story, and they will retain the story much easier. And we believe that any really important information that you want to transfer, that if you want it to be retained, you kind of need to do it in some kind of a parable or a story, because it's in an emotional context that people can identify with. And so we spend a lot of time discussing what the principle would be for both books, but then really enriching it with a story to illustrate what we're trying to get across.
Yes, indeed. This is a very important principle that I'm also trying to learn. And I think all of us in our own ways need the power of story to be able to be persuasive and convincing to anyone that we might be talking to.
Right.
Okay, great. So, Linda, we just have a few minutes. I have one last question for you regarding truth number 4. Truth number 4 is a little good goes a long way. And one of your quotes in the book, if I remember correctly, I've jotted it down. It says, when you do nothing, you're doing something.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the act of doing nothing is a statement in itself, because if you think of life, and as we go through life, a hallway with a series of, thousands and millions of doors. And when you do nothing, when you don't open those doors, you have no idea the experience that you're missing, the connections that you might make, the success or enrichment to your life, whether it's your personal life, love life, business life, career. You've just kept that door closed. So you're not missing it because you don't know what's behind it. But what we tell people is you take advantage of every small moment. You take advantage of every interaction with another human being. And I'm not talking about the major ones. I'm not talking about the big PowerPoint presentations or the big business meetings. Of course you're going to prepare for those, and of course those are going to be meaningful. I'm talking about all the incidental things that happen in your life where all these doors can be opened for you. And the more that you open, the more that you can see how enriched and, really prosperous your life can be. We have so many examples of people who, decided to speak to a stranger on a train. I had an instance with somebody who, their son was wanted to get into a specific college, and it was a very difficult university, and was with their son in the elevator and said to somebody in the building, "Wow, you look really great today. You're going out to a special dinner." And the guy really opened up, and he said, "No, my wife and I were just going to, see a show. Why are you and your son dressed up?" And he explained, "Well, we went to such and such college, and my son really wants to go there, and he's got great grades, but it's so difficult, and, what was the name of the university?" And he named the university, and he said, "Oh," and it turned out that one of his closest friends was on the board of admissions to the school.
Oh, my God.
And ended up having an interview and getting a special letter written on his behalf. Now, of course, the son needed to be qualified, and, why did that person decide to have small talk with that person in the elevator? Just because it was the nice thing to do. Just because it was polite conversation. Did he expect it to lead to anything? Absolutely not. But open those doors. Plant those seeds. You will not even imagine how they're going to change your life. And it may take decades until you see how that's going to benefit you. But it will. And just the very act of doing it is pleasant. And why not go through life, creating more pleasant environments? by creating a nicer, more fertile universe for everyone.
Yes, yes. And when you mention the word universe and this story, the power of serendipity and of being nice and connecting with people around you, that's what really comes to mind.
That really comes to mind.